Hello and welcome to another episode of the BSN Network podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 23rd. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Tuesday, August 23rd, second day of the week, coming off of an exciting night last night. Really in the world of sports, you had baseball, a ton of games on, Yankees, Mets on, you had Jets, Falcons, MetLife Stadium, Monday Night Football. So it was a lot of fun last night having all the sports on and having all the different action at that time of year. Baseball, football, really, football starting to really ramp up as we get closer and closer. What are we now? I think 19 days until the first Sunday, 16 days until the start with the Rams-Bills Thursday Night Football that will get the season kicked off. So a lot of excitement around the football season, a lot of things to look out for as we get closer and closer, and things are starting to get quicker. It seems like things are getting faster and faster. It's like baseball season's going now, football season's right around the corner. It's like everything's just coming at you at such a fast pace right now. So there's a lot of exciting things going on. Yankees got the win last night, a very big win for the New York Yankees as they get the 4-2 victory over the New York Mets. Game 3 of the Subway Series, the first game of 2 that will be in the Bronx. Tonight will be game 2 of the second game, the final game of this quick 2-game set Subway Series. So big win last night for the Yankees. Played well. Did what they needed to do. There was definitely a little bit of, the error, in the outfield. It wasn't the prettiest ever, I guess you could kind of say, but it was a win nonetheless. We're really going to get into it, really take a dive into it, and, hopefully this is the start of something for the Yankees. They got the win on Sunday. They hit off of Max Scherzer yesterday. Hopefully this is the start of, in a way, getting back to what the Yankees were earlier in the year, and that was the best team in baseball that was scoring, coming back in games, playing good defense, base running, all that stuff. Bullpen was good, starting rotation, all that stuff. Hopefully we get back to that with a couple of these wins here if we continue to stack up some of these wins. So we'll see how it all plays out. Like I said, Jets-Falcons last night. Jets also got the win there. It wasn't pretty. It was ugly. Rainy, ugly preseason game. It wasn't the most energized, fun game to watch, but they got the job done. Strevler does it again, carries the team back to a comeback. We'll get into that to start the show, just about the Jets and stuff like that. So a lot to get to today on the podcast. Like I said, Yankees, Mets game 2 tonight. And that's about what's rolling. So let's get to the topics for today's podcast. We're going to get into Jets versus Falcons last night. We're going to recap it. Did a little bit of my Jets-Giants update yesterday. So we're going to recap the Jets-Falcons game here today. Jets get the win 24-16, move to 2-0 in the preseason. Not that means anything. It doesn't at all. They come back again, start slow, finish strong. A lot of takeaways to take from this game. So we'll get into it. We're also going to get into the Yankees-Mets last night. Like I said, Yankees get the win versus the Mets, 4-2. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Yankees. 7 of those 8 coming off of Scherzer. Got the job done, did what they needed to do, and hopefully this is the start of a elongated stretch of wins. If you can find a way to win tonight, you sweep the Mets. Then you go out west. You got 4 against Oakland. I think 3 more against the Angels, and then you go out to Tampa to end up the road trip. So you're thinking to yourself, if you can win today, you don't want to get too greedy, but if you win today, you're looking at 4 games in Oakland where, those are 4 games for the taking. Oakland's terrible. Nobody's going to be at that game. The stadium stinks. Nobody shows up. Oakland's awful. So do you have those 4 games there? Maybe you sweep and maybe you get on an elongated win streak here. That's what you hope to see from the Yankees. So we'll get into all of it. Like I said, New York Sports Update to finish things off along with the rest of baseball. Fantasy as well. Yankees tonight. By the way, I did say I'll do my fantasy preview today. I'm pushing that back. I'll do it one of these days. Just be prepared for a fantasy football preview. I'll do it one of these days, just with all the sports going on, Jets, Yankees, all this stuff. Want to talk about all that. Then I'll get to my fantasy football preview. Still a lot of time to do that until the football season gets going on what is it, September 8th? I think the first game is, because then the 11th is all the rest of the games, and then obviously Monday Night Football and all that good stuff. So a lot to get to today on the program. With all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get into it. So, Jets last night, Jets versus Falcons. Jets get the win 24-16, moved to 2-0 in the preseason. Second time this year where the Jets got another win, and another win in comeback fashion. They got the job done against the Eagles on August 12th, 24-21. They got the job done last night, 24-16 against the Falcons, and then next Sunday will be final game of the preseason against the Giants at home. Not that it even matters, even if the Giants were home, it's still MetLife Stadium, as we all know. So they'll finish that out Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, August 26th. So this upcoming Sunday, they'll close out their preseason against the Giants, and a lot to take from it. So I just want to start with this. Last night there's takeaways to always take, and I've said this throughout the offseason. I said this throughout training camp. For any team, any player, anything, you don't want to overreact too much to the preseason, right? And I said this for both good and bad. If a good thing happens, that's great. You don't want to overreact. If a guy has 5 touchdowns one day in training camp and has 100 receiving cards, that's good. He's not the MVP for that, right? And same thing if there's a bad thing. If a guy, if a quarterback throws 3 interceptions and can't get anything going, you don't crush the guy. But, there is a little bit of reason to be concerned, but it doesn't mean you trade him or you cut him, right? Especially if it's a starter. So you don't want to overreact either way. Positives or negatives, you don't want to overreact. But last night, the Jets game, and understand, it's the preseason. 17 of the 22 starters didn't play. A couple of the notable ones were Flacco, Elijah Moore, Carl Lawson, Corey Davis, among some of the many that did not play. 17 of 22, in fact, did not play last night. So only 5 starters for the New York Jets played in last night's game. And your week 1 starter, most likely, in Joe Flacco, didn't play either. Now, Saleh did say at the end of the game that it looks like Flacco will be playing. It looks like most of the starters will be playing on Sunday against the Giants. That would be like their dress rehearsal for week 1 against the Ravens, which will be shortly after that. So, you have to take this with, you have to kind of take it with a little bit of a grain of salt too. You don't want to overreact too much. But last night's game was extremely sloppy. Very sloppy. And I understand they got the win, 24-16. Chris Streveler does it again, 8 of 11, 119 yards. He had a touchdown. He did throw a pick, but leads the Jets to a comeback again. He just has good command of the offense. It flows. It was so much fun. It was so much better to watch Streveler play than it was Mike White. I mean, Mike White was really terrible last night. Didn't really do much. 12 of 17, 90 yards. Only 5.3 was the average per yard. You just don't see that flow. There wasn't much, and maybe it could also be because, there's more talent on the field with the Falcons when White was out there giving, some first-teamers and stuff like that. But, there was just no, energy, and there was a lot of penalties, a lot of mistakes, a lot of missed throws. It just wasn't good for Mike White. And you start to wonder, does Streveler take over Mike White's role? Is he the backup week 1, and then when Wilson comes back, is he the third string and Mike White's not on the team? What's the deal? I mean, I don't foresee that happening. It is definitely a question. So, you had all that stuff. But the defense yesterday is the big thing. And I'm actually going to start with the defense, and then we'll get to the offense. The defense yesterday came out flat. Penalties, early on, a very big drive for Mariota. You let Desmond Ridder make some plays. I mean, just some really poor, low-energy football from the defense. And again, I don't want to sit here and overreact. I'm not going to sit here and say the season's over or the defense is terrible, but it does raise a little bit of a concern because of the fact that the Jets' defense last year was historically bad. Historically bad. Not just bad, historically bad. They were terrible last season. And we all kind of just, chalked it up to being, and rightfully so, young guys learning. There was a lot of young players in the defense. There was a couple times where Mosley missed a couple games, so when he was out, kind of your true leader and your best defensive guy, he was out, but a lot of young corners, Eccles, Hall was still learning a lot, who struggled last night, Michael Carter's young, rookie. There's so many young guys. And I said last year my biggest issue going into last season was the defense in the secondary, because there was going to be a lot of growing pains, a lot of young guys, and all that stuff. So I was expected to see the struggles last season. But again, you build your defense lined up, you have a lot of good depth, you have a lot of good secondary help, and it's not a lack of talent with this defense, it seems. You got Sauce Gardner. You picked up Jermaine Johnson. Clemens has been phenomenal throughout camp. I mean, Jonathan Marshall last night had a sack. It's interesting. He got a lot of playing time. So you wonder, you could take it to one of two ways. Does Jonathan Marshall last night, got a good amount of playing time. So did Nathan Shepard, and you wonder is Nathan Shepard, is he a guy that got a lot of playing time? Do you wonder if they're looking at him? Marshall got good amount of snaps as well. He got a sack. Clemens played well. So there's definitely some positives, but it's not a lack of talent. It's just a lack of energy. And that's what's so frustrating as a fan, because it's like we saw the same exact thing last year. And I said it yesterday in my In the Trenches with Gangrene podcast, and I'll be uploading one later today too of today's of the recap of the game last night on Apple Podcast. I said it yesterday. Last year, there was such a lack of energy. This year again, you see a lack of energy. And I said going into last night's game, you want to see them come out with a little bit of fire. You didn't see that against the Eagles. And then you see a lot of the backups are playing, so you're like, all right, these are guys fighting for jobs and all that. You didn't see it against them. And last year, same thing. You saw a lot of first quarter, first drive, the opposing team marches downfield, scores, offense take the field down 7-0. Offense has a 3-and-out, defense allows another touchdown, boom, just before your eyes, you're down, 5 minutes into the game, you're down 14-0, and now all of a sudden, this next drive, you almost have to score to keep yourself in the game, and it's only the first quarter. So that was what it was like last year, and again, we start to see that again this year. And I get it, they came back in the second half, but there's just a lot of penalties. And I know, Bradley Anae gets fumbled, he sacked him, got it, returned it, all that good stuff later on in the game. But there's definitely a little bit of concern on the defense. And same thing with the offensive line too. You go more towards the offense where, the offensive line, not many, no starters really played last night. You had all backups in, so your offensive line probably will play against the Giants. That's going to be its main dress rehearsal. They need to get together. So, there's been a lot of positives around the Jets this training camp. There's been a lot of good things. But the defense, in my opinion, is what's going to bring this team down. That's it. I don't think it's going to be offense. If there is going to be something that hurts this team this year and brings this team down, it's going to be the defense. Now, if they go on and play great, that's good. I wouldn't be surprised. But, I also wouldn't be surprised to see if they're the downfall of this team. Just because... And I understand the starters weren't playing, but it's not a lack of talent. That's what people have to understand. I know it's preseason. It's tough to kind of really get energy and all that stuff when crowd's not large. It's rainy. It's a Monday night. You're just also some of these guys too are just trying to make sure that they get out of the game healthy. They might not be playing fully 100%. Now some of these other lower roster guys, they're playing their hearts out because they're going all out. They're fighting for jobs. They're fighting for their careers. I mean, really, they are. I mean, some of these guys, who knows how many opportunities they're really going to get. I mean, look at Chris Streveler. This is a guy that really doesn't know how many more opportunities he's going to get, but he's taking advantage of every one he's gotten in these 2 preseason games. Same thing with the guys on defense. And that's the thing that's perplexing to me. Is I understand the starters aren't playing. It's not a lack of talent. It's just a lack of energy. And it's just they come out flat. And it's so weird. It's not talent. It's just flat because even the backups, they came out flat. It's just, it's tough to put a finger on it of what's exactly happening. And I don't know if it's just the way Old Brick runs his defense, if the first couple possessions are more of a, sometimes, more of a, I don't want to say, it's not like, it's tough to explain. It's not like it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's just, maybe they aren't flat. Maybe it's just what this defense is and that's the reality. Or if it's a scheme or whatever it is, but it's just weird. And I don't want to start the podcast off on a negative note because there was a lot of positives from the Yankee game. Obviously, we'll get to that, but it's just weird. That's my biggest concern. That's what's going to bring this team down. It's a lack of energy, not talent, energy. The offense comes out, and the offense wasn't great last night, but the offense has come out, in times in games, even last year, where they come out with energy, get some yards, score, put points up, and then the defense is already, allowing points left and right. It's like now you're in a shootout, and if you're in a shootout with a team like the Packers or a team like the Bills, they're more talented, they're going to win. So that's what makes this defense so important. That's why it's got to turn things around. So that was my biggest concern. My biggest thing. There was definitely a couple positives to take from last night. It wasn't the prettiest win ever. There was a lot of ugly. There was a lot of negatives. But the defense is just, it's a little concerning. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it's time to panic and the season's over. But it's definitely a little concerning. That's all I will say. So you go to the offense, like I said, basically just talked a lot about the defense. There was a couple of positives on defense. Not many. There was a little bit. Sauce, no passes near Sauce's way, which is good because I've always said this. Corners who are not active in games where you don't hear their name much, that's good. The less you hear a cornerback's name, the better it is because that means he's locking down his receiver and the quarterback's not throwing anywhere near him. That's good. Right? When you see corners being targeted all the time, making all these tackles, it's like, all right, his coverage not good. Bryce Hall last night had a very poor night. And I think Bryce Hall is probably going to be a guy that's a backup behind Sauce. That was a little bit of a training camp battle going in. I think we all kind of expected Sauce to win that battle. I think last night was the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, whatever you want to say. Saleh did say they'll make a decision this week about who's the starter there. It's going to be Sauce. It's obvious. Sauce... last night again, his name doesn't get called. In a good way. Like, you don't see guys throwing in Sauce's direction much because he's locking down the receivers, and I don't want to overreact to that a little too much, but he's showing a lot of positives there. Early in the game, Damian Sherwood had a good tackle, had a hard hit. Will Parks had a couple really nice hits. Bryce Hall, like I said, really struggled. Ashton Davis struggled. Really poor performance from him. I think his days as a Jet are numbered. I think it's just a matter of when he gets cut. That's really what I see. I don't know why the Jets drafted him in the first place. I called it right when they drafted him. It just didn't make sense. He wasn't that good coming out of college. He was a late-round pick. I seriously think the Jets had too high of expectations on Ashton Davis. I do. And I know it was a late-round pick, but they brought him in after they got rid of Jamal, and they're thinking, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, this is going to be the guy that replaces Jamal Adams. It's like, that was not the case. Ashton Davis has been just awful. He's been atrocious for us. I seriously think, the Jets, and, this is the one really bad pick by Douglas. This is somebody that the Jets were high on. When he came in, they were, everybody was like, all right, maybe you found a diamond in the rough. He's just been terrible. It's been awful. Has not really shown anything. He's just been, he hasn't, even when he's out there, he's not making any impact. A lot of times you see him for the wrong reasons, like he's getting burned or he's missing a tackle or he's on the wrong assignment or he's not in his zone or whatever it is. And for the defense, that's tough to see. So I think Ashton Davis's days are numbered as a Jet. Like I said, Sauce, Will Parks all had good days. Will Parks is making his name. Joyner didn't play much. Does Will Parks fit into the equation? He had a really nice hit yesterday. He continues to stack up good days in camp. Is he a guy that, kind of skyrockets up the depth charts and plays a role? We'll see. Like I said, O-line, really no starters. You go back to the defense quickly. Jonathan Marshall had a good game. Bradley Anae, Clemens. Clemens is just a force. He's just always around the quarterback. Always around. And that's what's so big is the Jets haven't had edge rushers like that, where they're always around the quarterback. And I truly think you've seen more things out of Clemens' camp than Jermaine Johnson. That's what I see a little bit. I like Jermaine Johnson a lot, but he was a little bit quieter last night. But, Clemens is he's always around the quarterback. Even if he's not sacking the quarterback or hitting the quarterback, he's always around him. Even last night, there was a run. It was late in the game. It was I think it was a run play. Or I don't know if it was a scramble by Felipe Franks or if it was a run play. But Clemens is rushing. Clemens is sprinting, and he's rushing the guy out of bounds. He got 2 yards. It's Clemens is around everything. And that's good. He's annoying for a good reason. We go to the offense. Mike White struggled a little bit. Like I said, Chris Streveler played well. It's a cool story. It really is. Whatever his future is with the Jets, whether he's with us, whether he's not, whether he gets cut, whatever happens, it's a cool story. A guy that's playing in the CFL, 4 teams in the past 9 months, to see him get an opportunity and really take advantage of it. He did well in the Friday game against the Eagles. He did very well last night. He's making, he's putting good things on tape, even if it's not for the Jets, for other teams out there that, might be looking for depth. Like I said, it's only 2 games. There's a lot more. I'm sure there's a lot more things. It's only 2 games. You don't want to read into it too much, but it's just a cool story. It's you gotta start the hashtag Start Streveler train and get him out there week 1. I'm just kidding. Flacco's gonna be the week 1 starter. Streveler, Streveler's the preseason version of Tom Brady. That's all. He's just Tom Brady in the preseason. So you got 2 of the greatest preseason quarterbacks in New York, Davis Webb and Chris Streveler. You go to the running backs. Zonovan Knight got some run last night. He had 5 carries for 9 yards. His longest was 11. Things got a little backed up after that. Pete Ryan got a little bit of action as well. He had 2 carries, 10 yards. Tevin Coleman had a little bit too. I really wonder Tevin Coleman last night, he did have an 8-yard run, but one of his runs, he just got stuffed. It was like a 3rd down and 1, and he ran right into the offensive line and just fell down. So it'll be interesting to see what he holds. It's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do with just the receiver, running back, tight end group. Because you look at the running back group, it's deep. You got Breece and Michael Carter. Breece had 4 rushes last night. Breece and Michael Carter. So you have them two. And then you got Ty Johnson, Zonovan Knight, Tevin Coleman, all those guys. Nick Baldwin, who doesn't get much, he's kind of the outside guy. He's not making the roster most likely. So you have them. You have, are you going to hold on to 4 running backs, 3 running backs? Then you go to the tight end. Cager had a very good game. Trayvon Wesco's probably going to get cut. He does nothing. A couple dumb penalties last night. What do you see out of, you have Cager, Rucker. You're obviously going to have Conklin Uzama. Then you go to the receiving core. If you hold on to 6 receivers, do you hold on to 3 running backs and 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends? What do you do? It's interesting. There's a lot of really going to be very interesting roster decisions as what the Jets decide to do with Mims, or not Mims. Mims too. Tariq Black is probably not going to. He got hurt last night. Irvin Charles is the guy that's making a name for himself. Calvin Jackson, you haven't seen him much. He had a very good camp. He had a very good preseason game. Didn't see him much during joint practices. Didn't see him much again tonight. Or last night. You wonder if maybe a little bit of the pixie dust if Calvin Jackson's wearing out a little bit, and maybe, that was just a stretch of good days for him. It will be interesting, but it's really interesting to see how the Jets maneuver this. Who they cut, who they keep. You know that the Jets like P. Ryan. They like P. Ryan. They like Tevin Coleman a lot, because he's a veteran presence. You really wonder what their feeling is on Mims. He works a lot with, the 3rd and 4th team guys, and he doesn't get much run with the 2nd teamers. It's weird. It's like he's buried on the depth chart. He gets special teams, reps, but it's just, Mims is just, it's such a weird situation. It really is. I wouldn't be shocked if he's on the roster. I wouldn't be shocked if he's off the roster either. I think it's just one of those things that's so up in the air. It's so hard to predict what the Jets decide to do with him. He had a couple nice catches last night, but he's playing with all these guys that are fighting for roster spots. So is that what they see Mims? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I just don't think the Jets really like Mims much. They'll never tell you that. I just don't think. I think when you have younger receivers, when you have guys like, some of these other guys that are making impacts, maybe go a little bit deeper at the tight end spot with Lawrence Cager putting together a good camp, or the running back, because he got a lot of depth there. It's going to be really interesting to see who the Jets keep, who they don't keep when you're looking at the running backs, receivers, tight ends. Because what is it? It's usually 3-4 tight ends, 6 receivers, and then 3-4 running backs. Do you keep 4 running backs? Do you remove one? Go with 3 running backs, maybe add a tight end like a Cager, take away the receiver, just roll with 5 or 6 of them, or what do you do? It's so weird. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of positive there. Irvin Charles put together a nice little bit of a nice game. He had 2 catches for 9 yards, a couple catches. Garrett Wilson had a great catch. That was probably one of the highlights of the offense in the first half. It was up. It was a little bit to his left. He's got very good hands. It really is. He's got very good hands. Lawrence Cager, obviously 3 catches, 65 yards, touchdown. It was a choice route, so he had the option. Go probably out or in, run across the middle, slant across the middle, about 10, 15 yards, more of an in route. Streveler had him on the run. It was a good catch, good run, and Cager goes to the house. So Lawrence Cager doing some things. Very good after the catch, too. Very good. For a tight end his size, very quick and nifty after the catch. So, he's a guy, I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to, get rid of Cager after what he's done. He put in the work in the offseason to get to a tight end. He was buried on the depth chart. He really was. Now he comes out, has a very phenomenal camp, good joint practices, good 2 preseason games. He's almost, every box for a guy that's, fighting for a roster spot, he's checked off. Good first preseason game, check. Maintained quality, good at camp, check. Joint practices, you didn't see his name much, but he did make some plays, check. You go to check at the preseason game. He's put together some really nice days. So I don't know if I don't know. It's going to be interesting because then you like Ruckert a lot. You're not getting rid of Ruckert, obviously. So, Wesco's probably the odd man out, and Wesco stinks. So you probably get rid of him. It's really, really interesting because you already have Uzama and Conklin. A lot of depth, though. I'd take more depth at receiver than I would running back. That's what I do. or tight end rather, because I think tight ends are so important. You could do so much with them. I think that's so pivotal. I mean, if you can get, if the Jets, let's just say the Jets had a rotation of like 3 or 4 just good tight ends. I mean, that's so big. I mean, even if an injury happens, then you have depth there. I mean, the Jets, they were rolling out, Ryan Griffin, what was it, Daniel Brown was that other dude or some other dude. Nick Baldwin last year played a little bit of tight end. Trayvon Wesco. Go back to the days of Jordan Leggett. I mean, the Jets have just had so many. Austin Severian Jenkins. I mean, the Jets have had so many bad tight ends. So many bad tight ends. To have 4 tight ends that you could really trust, that would be like, that would just be amazing. That really would be. That would be crazy. So, tight end's definitely an intriguing position. And I believe the Jets today have to cut, I think they have to cut 5 more guys, or 5 more players, I think. So, cut the rosters down to 80. I think it's today or one of these upcoming days. So, 5 more cuts are going to have to happen. They're going to start to trim down on the defensive line. You're going to see them start to trim down on the defensive line a little bit. So, we'll see what guys do there. But, again, biggest takeaway is defense got to bring more energy. That's the big thing. Offense, Strevler looked good. You saw a little bit from the depth. Garrett Wilson, nice catch. Mims is such a questionable right now. It's very questionable right now what his future is with the Jets. And tight end stacked. Tight end is loaded. That's what I'm most excited for. The tight end is loaded. It really is. So, looking forward to upcoming more of these camps, and preseason game number 3 against the Giants will be the dress rehearsal, and then get to see what the offensive line looks like and all that good stuff. So, that's what I got for the Jets and Falcons preseason recap. Jets get the win 24-16. Means nothing. By the way, I think Saleh is 4-0 and... Is he 4-0-1, I think, in the preseason? He hasn't lost yet in the preseason. So, Saleh is a... Got an undefeated record in the preseason. Maybe he can bring that to the regular season. We'll see. Anyway, so that's what I got for the Jets Falcons last night. Like I said, final preseason game, August 26th, this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, MetLife Stadium, Jets Giants. The final game of the preseason before both teams get ready for Week 1. Giants will be in Nashville against the Titans, Tennessee. Jets will be at home against the Ravens. So a lot to look forward to coming up in the world of football. We now shift here and get to a little bit of baseball. Because while you had the Jets-Falcons last night, and obviously Giants over the weekend, and a lot of football as well, you had a big baseball game last night. Yankees, Mets, you had the Subway Series round number 2, this time from Yankee Stadium. Mets took the first 2 from Citi Field earlier in the year. You could see I'm rocking my Nasty Nestor shirt tonight. Had a very good start Sunday. Figured they got the win last night. Wear it today, feel good about it, feel good about the win. Yankees now find themselves on a win streak. It's not a long one, it's 2 games, but the way they've been playing, the way they've been performing, the way they've been hitting, the way they've been pitching, the fact that they're on a win streak, the fact that they just outpitched and kind of outplayed Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer and the New York Mets last night was really pretty good, was really pretty shocking and very exciting. So Yankees get the win last night, 4-2. They improved to 75-48 on the season. Mets fall to 79-45 on the season. The Yankees now find themselves 8 games up in the division. They're 8 up on Tampa, 8.5 up on Toronto, 11 on Baltimore, 14.5 on Boston. The Mets fall to 79-45. Like I mentioned, they're now 3 up on Atlanta, 11 up on Philly, 25 and 37.5 up on Washington. But that doesn't really mean anything. The main thing that means something for them, they're 3 up on Atlanta. Yankees are now 8 up on second place. Tampa, them and Toronto are going to be going back and forth the rest of the year of who's going to be second, who's going to be third, what's, home field, not home field, wild card, all that stuff. They're going to be going back and forth. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do, Tampa and Toronto, and how that plays out. Because going into last night, Tampa and Toronto were 65 and 55, both of them. Tampa had a game last night. They got the win, so they're up now. Toronto did not have a game last night. So it's just how schedule works. Toronto will be back in action tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the standings play out there. But the Yankees got the win. And I went on a rant on Sunday on my Bubs Talking Baseball podcast that I do every Sunday on Apple Podcasts. I went on a rant. And it basically just titled it Yankees Rant. Talked about the Mets, did a little bit of American League, National League, all that good stuff, to what I do every weekend. And I went on a rant, and I was ranting about the Yankees, ranting about Cashman, and all that stuff. And rightfully so. It was all needed. Because the Yankees were very bad prior to these past 2 games. You lose 2-3 against the Reds. You lose the first 3 against Toronto. You bounce back on Sunday, get the win. You take a little bit of that momentum into last night. You get the win as well. And now the Yankees find themselves on a 2-game win streak. And last night was just a good, surprising, exciting victory for the New York Yankees. Because nobody, including myself, thought that the Yankees were really going to come out and beat the New York Mets against Max Scherzer, who shut us down the last time we played him at Citi Field, and take care of business. Nobody saw that coming. I was really worried going into this series, especially if the Yankees got swept by the Blue Jays going into the series. They might have a 1-8 homestand. But now you start to see this Yankee team play a little bit better. And if you're on a 2-game win streak, you won the final game of the Toronto series to avoid the sweep. You win the first game here. You go for the doubleheader sweep, not the doubleheader. You go for the second game of the series sweep today. You're facing up against Taijuan Walker, who he did pitch well against you last time in the Subway Series. But it's not Jacob deGrom. I would rather face Taijuan Walker than Jacob deGrom. deGrom, obviously, they're going to give him a little extra rest. I have no issue with it. Yankee fans out there saying he's scared of the Yankees. That's not true. People saying, it was to avoid the Yankees. None of that is true. None of that is true. It's just they want to give him more rest. And rightfully so, I don't blame him. Taijuan Walker also missed his start on Sunday in Philly. That's why Jose Butto got the start. So Taijuan Walker is going back out. He's healthy. He's ready to go after leaving his prior start due to an injury. So he's back out there tonight. We'll see what he can do. But, you saw the Yankees last night put together some good at-bats. They hit off of Max Scherzer. They had 7 hits last night, 8 total. The other hit came off of Michael Givens, and that happened in the 8th inning. It was a single by DJ. So, it was just a good win. It was one of those wins where, and this is what I'm talking about with the Yankees, where they put together good at-bats. They were hitting off of Scherzer. They weren't overly relying on the home run ball. I mean, the first inning, it was a sacrifice fly by DJ that got the run in. Obviously, Benintendi got hit. Who knows if that was a retaliation from the first inning because Nimmo got hit, leadoff hitter. Scherzer hit Benintendi, leadoff hitter. Who knows? Not going to read too much into it. It didn't escalate into anything further. The Blue Jays-Yankees Sunday was more heated in terms of a player getting hit than yesterday. Nobody really read into it much. Was it intentional? I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's Subway Series, a little bit of a rivalry. Who really knows if it was intentional, not intentional, whatever the case may be. Not really going to read too much into it. It didn't transpire into anything. Then Rizzo hits the single in the first, moves Benintendi to third. DJ obviously gets the sacrifice fly, flies out to Marte. Benintendi scores, and the Yankees get a run there. You go to the second inning, not much going. Now you go to the third inning. Judge, who has really, really struggled against Scherzer in his career. Kind of in his career, but specifically this season, at Citi Field earlier in the year, struck out 3 times against him. He struck out his first at-bat against Scherzer. That was with the runner on in Benintendi, so you're hoping, all right, let's see if Judge can break out of it. And he did that last night. Gets the home run against Scherzer, makes it a 2-0 game, and you're like, all right, here we go. Solo home run by Judge, 2-0. Now you got some space. And you got to give credit to Domingo Germán because Germán last night was phenomenal. 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, only 1 was earned because of the dumb error that took place between Oswaldo Cabrera and Gonzalez. And I'm not going to sit here and crush him, but that is a little league mistake on a big league field. That's what that was. That's outfielder's ball. It's obvious. Marwin Gonzalez, he was calling for it. Oswaldo Cabrera was calling for it. It's a loud crowd. Obviously, neither of them hurt him, or they both hurt each other, and they were just hoping that one would back off another. I love Oswaldo Cabrera has been phenomenal for us. He's been great. I know his bat's still got to heat up a little bit, but it's just he's adjusting still to the major league pitching. But he's been phenomenal defensively, sacrificing his body, going out for that catch that he made on the tarp. Yesterday got a little greedy. That was the big thing. So you have that play, and then you have the home run by Vogelbach. That was the only issue, and that wasn't even, that's a solo home run. So that wasn't even Germán's fault. Germán yesterday, 6 1/3, like I said, 3 Ks, no walks, was efficient. He had a no-hitter going into the 4th inning before Nimmo hit a single off of him to start the inning, and then Lindor had another single, and then Alonso ended up grounding into a double play to end the inning. Oswaldo Cabrera stepped on second, threw it over the first, so a 4-4-3 double play to end the 4th inning. So Germán got out of that. That was really his first big trouble. It was 1st and 2nd, 1 out, Alonso up. It was just like it was a big at bat. Like First, and I feel like that at bat really hurt the Mets because he had first and second, one out. Marte obviously flies out to center, then Lindor gets on. So it's first and second, one out. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, here we go. First and second, one out. And that Nimmo hit too was Lindor's. One of them went off of Herman's ankle. So it was first and second, one out. And you have Alonso stepping up. And then after that, you got Vogel back. So that was a big, big at-bat for her. Because at that point, it's only 2-0, right? Top fourth, fresh off the Judge home run in the bottom of the third. The solo shot off for Scherzer. That was a big at-bat. And Herman did exactly what he needed to do. Kept the ball on the ground, didn't let Alonso elevate, grounded out, double play. That was huge. Herman had a couple moments last night where he found himself, not in jams, but where there was big at-bats, where one swing could change this game. You saw it in the fourth inning. You even saw it a little bit in the fifth inning, where McCann got on, or the sixth inning. McCann gets on, and then you're like, all right, top of the order. Yankees in the sixth inning were up at that point 3-0, but you're like, all right, bottom of the order gets on. Beatty flew out. McCann gets on. You're like, all right, top of the order now. Nimmo, his last at-bat was a single, so he's already been on. He already found him. And the next batter is Marte. So you're like, all right, runner on, bottom of the order. You were hoping to work through that and get to the top of the order with 2 outs. He was able to get through them. Got Nimmo to pop out. Got Lindor to line, or Marte to line out. That was good pitching. So there was real no bases loaded 1 out where he had to pull a rabbit out of a hat, Herman. But there was a couple moments last night and something where Herman struggled with this year a little bit. Yankees pitching in general, where you'll get a runner or 2 on. You saw this with Cole against the Blue Jays. Walks the 9-hitter or 8-hitter. Lets Jackie Bradley Jr. absolutely rip a double off of him. All these runs score. Herman last night, there was a couple moments where that could happen. You let McCann to get a hit. A guy went into last night batting 175. At least he didn't walk him, but he got a hit. So you go back to the top of the order. You're like, all right, you can't let Nimmo, Marte get on, and all of a sudden a hit start to happen. But he was fine. Got a pop out. Got Marte to line out. You go to the 7th, like I said, and that error, which really hurt him, gets Alonso to reach on the E4, which, it doesn't hurt Herman. I mean, nothing Herman can do. And I will admit, Herman is a guy that started out really bad. Yesterday was, his 7th start of the season. Going into yesterday, he started 6 games. So yesterday was only his 7th start. So you don't want to read into it too much, but he was really, really bad his first start. It was kind of, he was eh. And then recently he's been a little bit better. His ERA's been dropping. Now it's down into the 3.89, into the 3s under 4. You're like, all right, if he can continue to stack up performances, that's good to see out of Herman. And by far last night, without a doubt, that was his best performance of the season. So yeah, that you did. The only mistake was the Vogelbach homer, which in hindsight means absolutely nothing because the Yankees came back in the bottom of the 7th, and this is what I like. Something that the Yankees showed in the early part of the year, where Vogelbach, not just Vogelbach, I'm just talking about in general, Vogelbach hits that homer. Early in the season, Yankees would respond. Recently, Yankees would not respond. Recently in games, Yankees would fall down 3-1 or 3-0, or, they'd be up 3-2 or 3-0, or they'll be winning. Then a big home run happens, and they'll just fall apart. And it'll be like, game's over. Last night, you saw Vogelbach get the game within 1. And, going into that, you're thinking to yourself, all right, all these things are crossing your mind. Loizaga did a very good job closing it out, pitching an inning of the 3rd. Marinaccio came in as well and did very, very well. But you're thinking, all right, who's going to close for the Yankees? Who's going to close out the game? These are all the things going through my mind, going through the Yankees' mind after that Vogelbach homer, but the Yankees find a way to bounce back. And they get the big run in the 7th inning. You had the error on Lindor. He threw it into the dugout, so Fleffett the single. Lindor then threw it into the dugout. That was an E6, so he advanced on that. Benintendi then has the single, Fleffa stays, and then Judge has the RBI single. Fleffa goes home. Benintendi the 3rd. Rizzo comes up, strikes out. So it was an opportunity there for Rizzo to maybe put the kind of final gut punch into that, but that obviously wasn't the case. So the Judge single. So Judge last night with an RBI, obviously, and then he had the big Benintendi, and also the single, and Benintendi's single scores. Benintendi last night had 2 RBIs. So that was good to see. He had the double in the 5th inning that got the Yankees a run. Falefa scored on that too. Falefa had a double. Then it was a sac bunt by Gonzalez. Falefa moved to 3rd. Benintendi then had the double, and in the single by Benintendi scored Falefa in the 7th inning. So, again, small ball. And Benintendi starting to show a little bit. 2 for 3 last night, 2 RBIs, a run scored, had the RBI double in the 5th, had the RBI single in the 7th. That was good to see. Judge as well. Maybe break it out of the slump that he's been recently. You know, he went 2 for 4 last night with an RBI and a run scored. That RBI obviously coming off the solo home run in the 3rd inning off of Scherzer. The big thing for me last night was just, and like I said, I don't want to overreact too much, but the Yankees looked like the Yankees finally played quality baseball. Like they, looking down at my scorebook, like it's a nice clean, just a clean win. They didn't do anything stupid. There was no base running blunders. There was, good hits, a double, a little bit of, a couple singles. Yeah, sure, a couple home runs, but, you're going to hit the long ball. They didn't let that Vogelback homer get to them. They didn't let that, turn into a 3, 4, 5 run inning and let the game get out of hand and all of a sudden you're losing. The Yankees bounced back and found a way. They had 8 hits last night. Yeah, not many times in these past couple weeks where the Yankees put up 8 hits, 7 of them against Scherzer, 7 of them against one of the best pitchers in all baseball. The Yankees have faced some very good pitchers recently. They've also faced some ant pitchers and made them look like Cy Young winners. And the Yankees haven't got hits. So, the Yankees got hits last night. They took advantage when they had opportunities. Again, 5th inning. You have the double that starts out. You had the double to start out the inning by Falefa. Got to take advantage of that. They did. It was the ground rule double by Falefa. Benintendi then trades places with him. Has the double. Falefa then scores. Then you have the 2 flyouts and stuff. But it was a fly out by Judge that almost went out. And it was a fly out by Rizzo that almost went out. So back-to-back almost went out there. So you're seeing, you're starting to see, maybe a little bit of things turning from this tough performance. And sure, there are still questions with this team. Not denying that. But to see them starting to play a little bit more of just fundamentally baseball that they were playing earlier in the year is a positive sign, considering what we just saw over these past couple weeks. And that was just baseball that was, they were boneheaded decision, bad at-bats, pitching wasn't good, bullpen's question. Last night, and you got to give credit to Loaizaga, who's kind of having up and down season with injuries. Inning in a 3rd, a strikeout, no runs, 12 pitches, 9 Ks, struck out, or he got the Mets. He retired the Mets 1-2-3 in the bottom in the 9th inning. He got Lindor to ground out, got Alonso to fly out, and got Vogelback to strike out looking. That is the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the lineup. Vogelback, by the way, in the 7th inning, his last at bat had a home run. So you know what he brings to the table. You know what he can do. And it was huge for Loaizaga to get Lindor and Alonso out. Because if any of them got on with Vogelback and the power that he brings to the table, same thing with Alonso. If Lindor would have got on, one swing of the bat, boom, could have been a tie game. But, Loaizaga did a very good job navigating it. Loaizaga, the 4 batters he faced were Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Vogelback. Shut him down, 4 up, 4 down. I mean, that is a very good job. And same thing with Marinaccio. He took care of business of McNeil, Marcana coming off the crazy 2 home run game against the Phillies on Sunday. He took care of business against McCann, the bottom of the order, got Nimmo to fly out. Again, right? I mean, he put together a good performance. And then, Loaizaga faces the 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Gets them all out, including Vogelback to strike out looking to end the game. A guy who had a home run in the 7th inning off of Herman. That made it a 3-2 game at the time. Yankees then respond. So there was a little bit of everything last night. You saw a very good bullpen from the Yankees. You saw Scherzer struggle a little bit. His final line was 6 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 101 pitches, 69 strikes. His ERA goes from 2.15 now to 2.33. Like I said, Trevor May came in as well. Struck out. I think he struck out Rizzo. I think that's it. He came in against Rizzo, struck him out, and then you went to Michael Givens, who worked a clean 8th, other than the DJ single, which would have been nice in the 8th inning. One thing I will tell you, the Yankees, I wish they could have viewed that DJ single was a great hit. You wish that they could have came up a little bit maybe with a run from that, because you had DJ, Donaldson, Cabrera, Trevino did nothing after that. It was a pop out, fly out, ground out. So, but yeah, good win for the Yankees. And hopefully this is the sign of things starting to turn, where the Yankees are starting to win games, get back to where they're, I think what was big last night is the Yankees kept adding on, right? They put a run up in the first. It's funny. Every other inning the Yankees scored last night. First, third, fifth, seventh. And if they would have played a ninth inning, who knows, maybe they would have scored. It's funny looking at my score book here, looking at there's a score thingy at the top of the book. It was first inning 1. No, then it's a 0. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Then there's an X because the Yankees didn't bat, obviously, in the ninth. So it's funny. Every other inning they scored, but it shows you, look, they kept piling on. It wasn't like there was one inning. It wasn't like it was the bottom of the eighth. I mean, geez. You go back to, what game was that? It was probably the Blue Jays game, right? Yeah, Torres. It was the Saturday game against the Blue Jays. Or was it Sunday? No, Saturday against the Blue Jays. Yankees lose 5-2. Torres, bottom of the eighth. Yankees scored a run. Yankees scored in the second. Nothing until the eighth. In the eighth inning, they were down 4-0. Was a solo home run by Torres. So you see that the Yankees last night, yes, it wasn't like they kept piling on 5 runs. They just kept adding on. A run. Translates into a 4-2 victory. Good win for the Yankees. Hopefully this is starting. And I'm not trying to overreact and say the Yankees are winning the World Series now just because they won 2 straight games. But you're starting to see a little bit of glimpses of the Yankees. You're starting to see a little bit of the Yankees that we saw earlier in the year. Not fully. It's only 2 games. But Sunday, Benintendi's big home run, big hitting, pitching, bullpen, all that stuff coming together. You see last night, although the error was not the Yankees of earlier in the year, but that's more recently. But that'll hopefully work itself out. But they got hits. They were playing a little bit of small ball. The bunt by Gonzalez to move Fleffa to third, and then Benintendi getting the double to trade places and get to you had Fleffa getting the double, Benintendi getting the double, not over relying on the home run ball. You did have the solo home run by Judge, but other than that, look at the 7th inning. It was 3 singles that inning, and it was Benintendi's single that scored Fleffa. It wasn't home runs. It wasn't back to back to back. It wasn't a grand slam. It was small ball singles, hitting, even in the first inning. DJ LeMahieu, runner on third, right after the single by Rizzo that put, Benintendi on third. There's a runner on third. Deej comes up, sacrifice fly. Just fundamental, just doing what you need to do. Not doing too much. Quality hitting, situational hitting. We saw that a ton in April, May, June. July, not much. August, absolutely none of it. Now are we starting to see a little bit of them break out of this? Hopefully. They'll try to bounce back tonight, or not bounce back. They'll try to continue to go tonight. Mets will try to bounce back. Taijuan Walker, Frankie Montas. Big start for Montas. Very big start. And I'll tell you why. Frankie Montas is first. This is how Frankie Montas' 3 starts have gone so far. A very bad start in St. Louis. Not going to overreact to that. An start in Boston. Very It was average. 5 innings, 3 runs. It was all right. Very bad start at home. This is a big start for him. His 4th start. If he makes a statement tonight, goes out 7 innings, no runs, 5-6 strikeouts, or even if it's 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, Yankees score. If it's like a Herman performance last night, maybe a little bit more strikeouts because he's going to strike out more guys than Herman will. 5-6 Ks, efficient, 6 innings, 6 1/3, 7 innings, 2 runs. If he has a performance like that tonight, and even if he gets some big outs, like makes some big pitches like Herman made last night, even if he has that tonight, that will be a huge statement for him as a Yankee. Subway Series, Mets, high energy. Now, if he lays a dud tonight, now you're really looking at it like this is 3 of 4 bad starts. And one of them coming at home, 2 of them coming at home, one in the Subway Series where, you really want to make a good start, So it's a big game this is a big game for Montes. Because if he continues to struggle, you really wonder what are the Yankees going to do with him in the playoffs then? So he's got to start to put together some good starts. Because it can't be like the final week of the season, he has a good start and you're like, "Oh, put him in." One good start. No, he's got to start to build. So tonight's a big night for Montes, without a doubt. Just in terms of how the fan base is going to react, but also in terms of just the magnitude of the game. I mean, I know he pitched in Fenway, Yankees-Boston rivalry, but there's a little bit more energy, I feel like, in the Subway Series right now just because of the fact that the Red Sox are not playing very well. They're 60-62 on the season. They're last in the AL East, and I think the Subway Series 2 just brings a ton of energy, especially the fact that for the first time ever, I think last night, both teams were 25 games above 500 going into the game. So, Subway Series, a lot of energy. So, definitely the biggest start for Montez, and all eyes are going to be on him. So, you go here to the MLB update here. You got Cubs, Cardinals tonight, Pirates, Braves, Reds, Phillies, Orioles, White Sox, Rays, Angels, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Tigers, Giants, Cardinals, Cubs. That doubleheader today for the Cubs, Cardinals, Royals, Diamondbacks, Twins, Astros, Rangers, Rockies, Padres, Guardians, Marlins, A's, Dodgers, Brewers, and you got the Nationals, Mariners tonight. Yankees, Mets. Yankees come into tonight's game 75-48, like I mentioned earlier. Mets tonight 79-45. Tonight 7:05 p.m. Eastern. You can find this on TBS, I think. I don't know if it's only out of market. I don't know. You could find it on Amazon Prime Video, and I guess it's on SNY or Pix. I think last night was on Pix, so it's either on SNY or Pix tonight for the Mets broadcast. I might watch the Mets broadcast because I hate Amazon Prime. I think it's stupid. I watch the games on there, but I think it's stupid. Number one, it's behind. And I got to tell you, I hate watching games behind. Hate it. Can't stand it. I know everybody says, oh, you don't know what's going to happen, so why? It's just the fact that, this stuff already happened before, you even, I can't stand watching games behind. I hate it. And I understand there's automatically going to be a little bit of a TV delay. There's going to be about, maybe a 5-second delay from the actual game to the TV. There might be a little bit delay automatically, but still, it's just not even 5 seconds. It might just be a couple second delay. That's nothing, though. But, watching a game, and I get the update too. I have my phone, so when the Yankees hit a home run, I get the update on my phone. I guess I could always turn off the notifications for all the sports apps, but I get the update on my phone that the Yankees scored, and then 2 pitches later, it happens on Amazon Prime. It's well, yeah, I knew that was coming, and it just takes the energy out of the moment. So I probably might watch an SNY or Pix, whatever it is, or TBS. I don't know if that probably is only out of market only, because last time I tried on TBS, it was Yankees, Rays, I think. Couldn't watch it. Could only watch it on Prime. So, and I also just hate giving Prime Video viewers, because I think it's stupid what the sports landscape and what sports things are doing now is where it's all streaming. All the stream. I think that's stupid. I really do. I think, it's a ton of money that and it's the same broadcast too. It's Prime Video, it's the same broadcast. It's the same Yes Network broadcast. It's not like you're getting another broadcast or you're getting another couple fresh voices. It's literally the exact same thing on Yes, except you got to watch it on streaming site that is behind. You got to pay for that streaming. That's all they want. That's all they want is your money. It's ridiculous. But that's where sports are headed. Whether you like it or not, I don't like it. That's where sports are headed. Sports are headed down a path where it's all streaming devices. That's what it is. And I was learning to somebody a couple weeks ago about this, and you wonder if the Super Bowl will ever get to a point UFC. A lot of that's pay-per-view. Some of that's pay-per-view. I think once a month they have a pay-per-view fight where it's it's only pay-per-view, so you got to pay for it. You have also some of these others, I wouldn't be surprised if the Super Bowl gets to a point where it's pay-per-view, because all of the money that it would. Look, they're already moving to Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, that's a primetime game. A lot of people watch Thursday Night Football. That's now streaming Amazon Prime this year. So that's what's crazy. It's already moving down that road. And it just stinks. It really does. Good thing the Jets only have one preseason game tonight. Or not one preseason. Well, they do have one preseason game left. But good thing the Jets have one Thursday Night Football game this year and not a couple. And that's later in the year. That's in December, I think. Jets-Jaguars, one of the final games this season. Thursday Night Football, I think, in MetLife. But, this streaming stuff is really, really frustrating. So that's what tonight is. That's my streaming Amazon Prime rant. Mets, Taijuan Walker, he's on the mound tonight. He's 10-3 with a 3.37 ERA. Frankie Montez, like I mentioned, just to give you some of their numbers, 4-10. Frankie Montez is 4-10 with a 3.87 ERA. Over-under is set at 8.5 for tonight's second game of the Subway Series. So I'm currently winning in fantasy baseball in my main league, 58-34. I've got Carlos Rodon, Taijuan Walker, and Tony Gonsolin on the mound tonight. And in my other league, I am losing 25-23, so not much action going there. And I've got Carlos Rodon, Adam Wainwright, Taijuan Walker. So like I said, in my main league, I also have Taijuan Walker on the mound. and it's so both guys got Tom Walker going in both leagues. So we shall see how all that plays out. Yankees tonight, Yankees-Mets, pumped up, looking for a sweep. And if the Yankees sweep the Mets, well, look, both teams took care of home field. That's the big thing, right? Mets took care of Citi Field, took the two games there. If the Yankees beat the Mets tonight, they took the 2 games at Yankee Stadium. You chalk it up. It's a Subway Series split, and you wait to see if they face each other in the World Series. Which I got to admit, I would love to see a Yankees-Mets World Series. Like, I know 2000, obviously they had that. I wasn't around then, obviously. But, I mean, the energy in the crowd last night, even at Citi Field, earlier in the season when they faced each other, I mean, the energy is just unbelievable. It really is. It really is unbelievable, the energy. And you can just imagine, even the media coverage on it, like, the fans, all that stuff, the radio shows, all that stuff, callers calling in, all that stuff, like, the media coverage is so big on it. Even like if it would happen in the World Series, I mean, it would be crazy. It really would be. And it would be great. Now, for baseball standpoint, it wouldn't be great for the West Coast because nobody, viewership-wise, it would hurt a little bit just because of the fact that, the West Coast people would really have nothing to watch. Like, if it's Yankees-Dodgers, that one thing. If it's Yankees-Mets, only one city, people out west are going to be like, who cares? If it's Yankees-Dodgers, it might gather a little bit more of a national audience just because it's a West Coast team and an East Coast team instead of 2 East Coast teams. But for the sake of my fandom and the rest of New York sports in the tri-state area, I think you got to go with Yankees-Mets World Series. Would just be phenomenal. Would be great. The energy would be unbelievable. So, anyway, that will do it for the podcast here today. Another good day of the podcast here. Tomorrow, we'll do more stuff. Baker Mayfield, you heard about him getting the starting job. Might talk about that. Like I said, one of these days I'll do my fantasy football preview. It could really be any time, just depending on how, the sports world and all that stuff unfolds. You got the Donovan Mitchell stuff, so a lot of stuff to get to on the podcast. So that will do it for another podcast. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.